What began as a modest local television experiment evolved into one of the most recognizable reality series of its era. The journey of Mike Rowe and his show, later known as Dirty Jobs, is not just a story about unusual occupations, but about persistence, reinvention, and physical sacrifice. Long before national fame, the concept struggled for approval, survived industry skepticism, and narrowly avoided cancellation. Behind the humor and curiosity of the show lay a far more demanding reality, one shaped by injuries, exhaustion, and constant uncertainty about whether the idea would ever find a permanent home on television. The struggling origins at Evening Magazine. In the early 2000s, Mike Rowe was working on a local CBS program called Evening Magazine. Ratings were declining, and the production team faced mounting pressure to revive interest. Alongside his producer, James Reed, Rowe began exploring new segment ideas that could feel authentic and engaging. Their discussions, often informal and spontaneous, centered on highlighting overlooked professions. The goal was to capture real people doing real work without glamour or celebrity influence. This creative environment, though uncertain, became the foundation for what would eventually grow into a nationally recognized television concept. Birth of Somebody's Got to Do It. From casual brainstorming sessions emerged the original idea titled Somebody's Got to Do It. Inspired by immersive journalism, Rowe envisioned himself stepping directly into unfamiliar professions without formal training. The format emphasized participation rather than observation, placing the host inside real working environments. The concept deliberately avoided polished storytelling, instead focusing on raw, unscripted labor. It highlighted occupations most viewers never considered, from sanitation work to agricultural procedures. This unfiltered approach stood out in early development discussions, though it also raised concerns among executives about tone, audience appeal, and long-term viability in mainstream broadcasting. Early segments and experimental filming. The first filmed segments tested the boundaries of what television audiences might accept. One of the earliest involved a worker at a zoo operating unusual vehicles and handling unconventional duties. These initial stories established the tone for the series, humor mixed with discomfort and curiosity. Each episode placed Rowe directly into physically demanding or unpleasant conditions, often with minimal preparation. The unpredictability of the jobs became a defining feature. While production resources were limited, the authenticity of the experiences resonated with viewers, gradually building momentum beyond its original local audience and attracting broader industry attention. Growing recognition and industry attention. As more segments aired, Evening Magazine experienced an unexpected resurgence. Viewer interest increased, and some episodes even received award nominations, including recognition for unusual agricultural work demonstrations. The success signaled that audiences were more receptive to unconventional storytelling than executives had initially believed. However, this momentum also brought instability. Network leadership began reassessing programming direction, and internal priorities shifted toward broader demographic appeal. Despite growing acclaim, the future of the segment remained uncertain. The tension between creative success and corporate strategy created a fragile environment for the continued development of the concept. Network changes and the threat of cancellation. A major turning point occurred when CBS underwent management changes. New leadership questioned whether the direction of Evening Magazine aligned with its evolving vision. Content featuring gritty, unpolished labor was considered risky for a mainstream audience. As a result, Rowe was encouraged to pivot toward different programming ideas. This shift effectively placed the entire concept in jeopardy. Despite its growing popularity, the segment faced the possibility of cancellation. For Rowe and his team, it became clear that the idea would need a new platform if it was to survive and expand beyond local television. Rejection from major networks. Determined to preserve the concept, Rowe attempted to pitch it to larger networks. He sent recordings of his segments to national broadcasters, hoping to secure interest. The response, however, was overwhelmingly negative. Most networks rejected the idea outright, citing concerns about tone and audience compatibility. One rejection famously referenced the show's unconventional subject matter with humor and disbelief. Despite repeated refusals, Rowe continued pursuing opportunities. Rather than abandoning the project, he refined his pitch and sought alternative production partnerships. These rejections, while discouraging, ultimately pushed the concept closer to a more suitable creative environment. Partnership with Pilgrim Films and Discovery Channel. A breakthrough came when Rowe connected with Craig Piligian, founder of Pilgrim Films and Television. Piligian, already experienced in reality television production, recognized potential in the raw authenticity of the idea. Having previously worked with Rowe on other projects, he was familiar with his willingness to engage directly in challenging environments. Together, they reworked the concept into a format suitable for pitching to the Discovery Channel. This collaboration marked a turning point, transforming the idea from a local experiment into a professionally packaged television proposal with national potential. Development of Dirty Jobs and network approval. During development, the show was renamed Dirty Jobs, a title that better reflected its content and tone. The format was expanded, allowing deeper exploration of each profession and extending episode length. Discovery Channel initially remained cautious, ordering pilot episodes and conducting audience testing before committing fully. After multiple trials and revisions, the network finally approved the series. The structure centered on Rowe assisting workers in demanding environments, performing tasks that were often physically exhausting or unpleasant. This immersive format became the defining characteristic of the show moving forward. National success and global expansion. Once launched, Dirty Jobs quickly gained a loyal audience. The series ran for multiple seasons and became one of Discovery Channel's most recognizable programs. Special editions expanded its reach, including international versions and spin-offs. The show also earned several award nominations, particularly for its cinematography and reality programming format. Over time, it evolved beyond a simple television series into a cultural reference point for overlooked labor. Its success demonstrated that audiences were interested in stories about real workers and the essential roles they played in everyday life. Physical toll, hiatus, and legacy conclusion. Despite its success, the show took a significant physical toll on Mike Rowe. Over hundreds of episodes, he experienced injuries ranging from cuts and burns to broken bones and infections. The demanding nature of the work made each episode a physical challenge. Eventually, the series entered periods of hiatus, marking the end of its regular production run. Although it returned briefly in various forms, its original era concluded after years of unpredictable filming. The legacy of Dirty Jobs remains defined by its authenticity, resilience, and the extraordinary effort required to bring hidden professions into public view.